This is a video that maybe Donald Trump will maybe see one day. I would say first off to Mr. Trump that you should keep the fight going. You should not give up, because Americans have already forgotten in the past 8 years that Obama did the same crap that you are trying to do, but doing it in a positive way of saying these are the things that Obama has created in this country, like illegal immigration, amnesty, all of this stuff. So the fight that's going on with Trump reacting on stage and doing what he as an American citizen has a right to do, which is to say that's wrong and you shouldn't be up here trying to take out my right to say what I'm saying to these people who are here to hear me speak. We know that these are individuals who are being paid by the Democrats, and they are trying to do everything they can to denounce Obama as far as Trump saying what he says about Obama, and them telling the American people that Trump's wrong to do what he's doing, but Obama did the same thing himself. He said to Joe the plumber when he was campaigning, he said this: I'm going to take what you've earned all your life for and I'm going to give it to somebody else who doesn't want to work, somebody else who I think deserves it more than you do, even though by all legal terms nobody has the right to take something that you've earned and given it to somebody else, especially if that other person didn't want to work and they didn't want to try to make a better life for themselves. And Obama has done that for 8 years now. He's given things to people who don't want to work, and that's why food stamps and all welfare programs like that, especially WIC, is just over saturated. It's beyond its infrastructure to function, because he's promoted it, he's pushed it. And half of the problem of all these people getting on food stamps is the Mexicans who come here illegally, and he gives them amnesty to stay here. And they don't pay taxes, and if they do, they certainly aren't entitled to any of these services because they are not American citizens. He has given the Mexican the right to have a driver's license, which really is the only proof positive they need, and most states don't even require a voter registration card to vote. All they have to do is take that driver's license out and say, I want to vote, in the election, and they'll let them vote. They don't have to prove whether or not they're an American citizen. If you got an ID of some kind, they will let you cast a ballot. That is the part of the reasoning for his allowing amnesty. The more people that come here, the more chances he has to allow Americans to be outvoted by illegals who the Democrats pushed and forced amnesty to give, so that they could come here and create more what I call bogus votes. Those are votes that are not from American citizens to help push the Democrats. And this attack against Donald Trump is not only it's ludicrous, but it's unfounded. People are against him not only because of what he says, but because they know that by the political system, he can't be subjugated by the Republicans, because he's financing it himself. So he's not getting private money from other people. He pays for everything himself when he is saying what he says. And nobody else can make him say something that they want him to say, because this guy is talking from the hilt. He's talking from his own heart, his own gut, because he financially is paying his own way. And those who are protesting and picketing and causing all of these violent outbursts at his campaigns, they know that that's the truth behind why Trump is able to do these things. And it's a joke that the Democratic Party is indirectly or directly shown to be behind all of these protests. Hillary Clinton herself, being a follower and a supporter of Saul Alinsky and George Soros, two individuals who are behind this movement towards a new world order. Hillary Clinton has already served on the Council for Foreign Relations, and that is the only criteria that has to be met in order for you to be considered a presidential, not so much a candidate for any party, but that if you served it, you're automatically guaranteed to be the president. And Donald Trump is the only man who has spoken out since the whole process began at the beginning of this year in 2016, who has said over and over again, these are the things I see happening and I'm going to stop it. I'm going to change how Obama has screwed up this country. And people, those who are retarded enough to have thought Obama was the greatest leader in this world's history, they're the ones against him. They can't admit they made the biggest mess of their lives when they voted for him 2 different times, 2008, 2012. I still believe that 2012 was a fixed election because the map showed when all the polls were finished and closed that Mitt Romney had 98% of all precincts across the country who reported for those states. He had all of those. And then they turn around and said Obama won by 4 states. Then you got Mitt Romney, who is against Donald Trump right now, saying he's wrong for this, he's wrong for that. This guy is a Democratic sympathizer. Mitt Romney gave up the campaign an hour after California closed its polls in 2012. He conceded 1 hour after the polls closed. And I say Mitt Romney is nothing more than a paid-off Democrat. He says he's a Republican, but everything he did when he ran for office proved that Obama had already bought him out because he conceded so fast. I mean, just like that. He gave up the election. He gave up fighting for what obviously was a Republican win. You know, people were saying the night of the election, no president's ever been reelected under all the different stipulation Obama had created about the country, the financial, economic crisis that we still face even now. All of these things, it's never happened before in American history, based on everything that's ever happened that they've ever kept records of. And Obama still won. Then Mitt Romney makes the fiasco of his life and says, nah, Donald Trump's wrong, he shouldn't be doing this, blah, blah, blah. And now you got Hillary Clinton, who has a skeleton behind her, a 5-mile skeleton of all of these different things she's done. She's lied about her emails, she destroyed emails, and people are just totally, just kind of pushing that whole subject under the rug. They don't want to talk about it, and they'll say, oh, well, it's because of the election. That's the reason why they should be talking about it, to prove that Hillary Clinton is not the right individual for the presidency because of the illegal things that she has done. For crying out loud, she destroyed any chance of America having any kind of a defense system because she sold the entire uranium deposits that we had in America. She sold all of that to the Russians. And then when they asked her, she's like, you know, I didn't realize I did that. You know, I'm sorry. It's like, it's too late. You did it already. And Benghazi. People don't even talk about Benghazi. We had military people there. The diplomats, all of those people were killed. And what did Obama's administration say? Well, that was just based on misinformation. That was based on riots because some paper in Paris created a cartoon of Muhammad. And again, what does Obama say about Muslims? This is not a war against Islam, but it's okay for Islam to kill people because that's what they did in Benghazi. They killed all those people because they said it was an offense to their religion. Obama never held any of those people accountable. He said he would. He said, I'm going to track them down, I'm going to find them, blah, 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 blah. He didn't do that. He didn't do anything. He let them do that. He let them get away with it. And now we've got probably an 80% vote in this country of women who think Okay, so we screwed up with a black president. Now let's just try and make things right, and we'll put a woman in there this time, and she'll get it right because she's like us. She knows how to think like we do. And I tell you, I wouldn't want a woman pushing the button and saying, okay, I'm letting all the gates down. I'm letting the Muslims come in here free of charge. They want to kill us, great. We don't have a problem with it. I'm standing down all of our security systems because we're trying to be friendly to the Islamic community, and we're not going to let them feel like they're being restricted. Taking the gates down on the border. You can come in here from Mexico, you can come in here from Chile, you can come anywhere you want to in the United States. Okay, so our whole system is about to collapse. Big deal. You know, that's the philosophy of the Democratic Party. Kill or just accept the inevitable fact and just say, okay, here's my neck, go ahead and cut it. Because we've seen on television in the last 10 years Coptic Christians being murdered on television wearing orange jumpsuits, saying, I'm not renouncing my belief in Christianity. And you don't hear of anybody in the administration of the presidency who has ever said, and this is even before George Bush, saying this attitude and this philosophy is totally, it's immoral and it's inhuman, and we're going to stop them. We're going to go after these people. They didn't. But when the Muslims commit these atrocities, San Bernardino, all of these different things, they say, well, these are isolated events, they're radicalism. Same book, it's still the Quran. I don't care if it's the so-called peaceful Islam or the radical Islam, it's still that one book. That one book, the Quran, that's what people believe in. And people in this country, Donald Trump, you should know this, people are stupid enough to think that nobody listens, nobody reads the newspaper, nobody uses the media to research all this stuff and learn it for themselves, because in some ways it's true, they don't. They're illiterately complacent to be happy at whatever they hear and say, it's okay with me, I don't care. Just don't take my cell phone, don't take away my lifestyle, don't take away my children, don't take away my wife. Okay, so we might have Sharia law, big deal. I can bow down to the ground, I'll worship anything you want me to, as long as I can have what I've got. That is America today, in 2016. People are stupid, retarded, they don't grasp what this is really all about, and that is your right to live and to worship and believe what you want to worship. And I'm telling you, freedom of religion means you worship whatever you want to. It isn't, oh, well, we're not going to let you worship Christianity because we don't think it's the right religion, so you're going to have to worship Islam, or you're going to have to worship Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever it is. It isn't free if you can't worship what you believe in. And subjugation is socialism. Socialism, if anybody read your history books in the 1980s or the 1990s, you will know what socialism is. It's communism. Communism is not a dead philosophy. It is very much alive in countries like China, North Korea, Russia. And Americans just turn a deaf ear to it just like they do everything else. They don't care. They don't want to listen. And Donald Trump's the only one who makes sense. And it blows your mind to think of this reality. When Obama ran for president, nobody had a problem with what he was saying. He's going to take what's yours, he's going to give it to somebody else. Nobody ever stood up and said, that's wrong, we're not going to vote for you because we are totally against the idea that what we've worked for is ours, and we should be allowed to keep it. And they never did do anything when Obama started saying those things about what he was going to do with, with people's personal assets. And then in 8 years' time, he has pushed and shoved all these other things into people's faces. Homosexuality, the acceptance of gay marriage, now drug use, and that's marijuana. It's already now legal in probably 3 or 4 states, and the push is that it's now supposed to be legal in certain aspects all across all 50 states, that everybody should be entitled to get medical marijuana. And if it doesn't help to say that this is an addiction and it's not going to stop until finally everybody's dead, then maybe that's how y'all want it. So please vote for Donald Trump.